Hello dear students, my name is Alhur Ranju, the founder of Shiksha Vinay Training Society. I am going to deliver a lecture on Kinematics for Standard 9. Now, so first of all, in going to the chapter, we have to know about the science. What is science? Science is inquiry by systematic method. Science is not a belief that you can blindly take it as a truth. For example, if someone or your parent or your teacher said that God exists and they are giving some logic, some reasoning by only statements, they cannot verify it, they cannot experiment on it, they cannot collect information from it, then it is not dealt in the science. Science only dealt that thing which can be used in the practical life. So God may exist or not, it is another case, but it is not the case of science. Science never deal with God. So what science deals? The science deals with all the natural processes, natural phenomena which can be explained by reason or logic and verified by experiment. For this we have to search, we have to observe something, and in your mind there is a question why it happens, how it happens. Then you have to collect data. Data means information. You have to collect more and more information about it, and then you have to reason about it. Why data is in that pattern? Why some term in the data is related to another term? So you have to check it out. It is the long process. So if anybody can find the relationship between some data, they can write it as a relationship, like F equal to ma, or like another formula. Okay, then you have to, based on this relationship must be based on the reasoning or logic. After that, if the experimental findings or experimental results also confirm this relationship, then the science includes this relationship. This is the dealing of science. This is the whole business of science. So physics is a branch of science. There are many science, there are many kind of science, biology, chemistry, or you know about it. So what is physics? Physics, as name suggests, physics means the study of all the natural processes which only involves physical body. You cannot, it only involves physical body. What do you mean by physical body? For example, a man is a physical body or not? Yes, surely a man is physical body for physics. But man is living also. Physical body means you can treat anything without mentioning that it is living. So a stone is a physical body, a book is a physical body, laptop or a mobile phone or my pen is a physical body. Even a man, dog is also a physical body without mentioning the livingness in it. So physics is the science which deals the natural phenomena, taken it as an object, as a physical body. And all the physical body involves two kinds of thing in this universe. Physics also deals universe as a physical thing. So universe must consist of two things, matter and energy. Matter may consist of charge, mass, etc. So basically the physics is the whole process of a study, the nature via mass, charge, energy, directly or indirectly. Have you got it? So this kind of things is studied in the physics. For example, phenomena of light, you know about it. Phenomena of electricity, you have studied in the previous class. Phenomena of waves, etc. Physics word is derived from the physio. Physio means the learning. It is a Latin word, now means learning in English. In ancient time, in the Greece, it is written, all these natural phenomena is studied under the name natural philosophy. Natural philosophy includes everything, like from biology, chemistry, mathematics, but we know that we have discovered many kind of things and vast knowledge we have accumulated in the modern world. So for a single name it is not enough to study something. So this natural philosophy or science, you can say, is categorized in various branches like physics, chemistry, biology, and physics is also categorized in many branches because of the vast knowledge we have acquired and the development of science. Now you know about what is science, what is physics, and what we do in physics. Now now you have to know about the term mechanics. What is mechanics? Mechanics, you know what is general word mechanics or mechanic. Mechanic means those who repair your devices or car. Okay, but here mechanics is the branch of physics which deals the study of motion. Study of motion, as we know, a study of motion of physical bodies. So every kind of a study includes two things, cause and effect. And the meaning of science is also the findings and find to relate cause and effect. How anything happen, why anything happen, if it happens, what will happen in future, or what is the path of the motion or anything, how much speed it has. So we study anything in science. We study we want to know about the cause of that thing, of that phenomena, and what effect will occur. So on this basis, mechanics is divided into two groups. Here you can see kinematics and dynamics. And what is kinematics? Kinematics is the study of motion, is a part of mechanics, which does not deal with the cause of the motion. Means it does not care about the cause of the motion. Here you can see it does not care about the cause. Care means you don't mention the force and energy which causes the motion. You only deal with the motion, how motion occurs, on what path, curve or straight line it goes, and from which height a ball is dropped when it is going in motion, at what speed it goes at the particular instant of time, what time it covers, how much acceleration it goes through. So basically it is the study of geometry of motion. It is the study of geometry of motion. Have you understood? So this is the figure. You can understand this is a study. We can study in this kinematics that You can find height, you can find speed, velocity, acceleration, time. You can find the trajectory, means path or locus. So various kind of things you can find while studying the kinematics. So basically it is the study of geometry of motion without mentioning its cause, which is force and energy. Okay, you understood what is kinematics. So before going into deep, we must have to know about some term in physics, that is rigid body. A body which does not change its configuration. Configuration means shape or size, or it is only a loose definition. Like you can see here, a ball is thrown as shown in figure, and ball covers the path like this. So every point on that, every molecule or every point on that have a fixed position during the motion. They never changes. If this point changes here and goes here, or this point here goes here, this means it is not a rigid body. Particular point must be at the particular place, never changes its place on the bulk of the body. Have you understood? So in the concrete definition, you can say, you can see here, if displacement of each point on the body is same, then it is said rigid body. If the displacement of each point on the body is same, then it is said rigid body. You can see here I take 3 points A, B, C, and during the motion here, when body goes at that point, then A is also at that same place, B is also same place, C is same place in the body. And you can check the displacement A to A, B to B, and C to C must be equal. So here in our study we will treat everybody as a rigid body. It is the assumption and it is the ideal thing we will study in the chapter. Now after we go ahead, we have to know what is particle. What is particle? So what is particle? Particle is object, any physical body, like a book, a marker, a pen, a paper, having no size at all. But this paper, this pen, this book must have reduced its size to 0 dimension. So it also can be said as point object, because point is undefined, but those things which can be reduced to 0 or appear as 0 dimension, it is said as point. Maybe appear, or may be realistic, or may appear. For example, if I here write this is a point for me, because I cannot measure, I cannot perceive that it has some length or not. But by microscope I can see that it has length, breadth and height. So if my perspective will change, it becomes length, it becomes higher dimension also. But now here for me it is a point. That's why point has two definitions, or undefined thing. If the perspective change, point, the dimension also change. So if the perspective says that things have 0 dimension or no size or nearly no size, then we can say the particle is the object is point object on, and then point object is called particle. So in other words, when distance is greater and very far than as compared to the size or dimension of the object, we can say that the object is point object. For example, sun is farther get away from me, so a sun can be said as point object or particle. Have you got my point? So zero dimension or very small size with respect to another distance consideration. If a ball is dropped from a roof, it can be treated as particle, or a jeep which chasing a thief can be treated as particle, depending on our consideration, our perception. So everybody in this chapter, everything, whether it is a book, a pen, or marker, we have to treat it a rigid body or as a particle, due to for the easy of study. Okay, my students, for the easy of study, all object must have to assume as a point object or particle. So if in the question or in the problem, if a ball is dropped, you have to take a point for that ball. A book is dropped, and you have to take a point for that book. This is easy to study the motion of the object. Now my question is, what is motion and what is rest? It is not an easy question, because before Galileo, this concept is different than after Galileo. So before thousands of years from Galileo, the definition of motion is different than for them than Galileo. But after Galileo also, the definition of motion or the concept of motion is same. Whether the genius of Galileo have said that the motion is different things than you usually said. Even Newton also believed on that earlier concepts of motion. But in modern concepts, we can know after Einstein or Galileo discoveries, we can know the motion is different things and can be treated differently than the Newton's idea or before the Newton's. So don't be serious, I will give you answer. So physics, according to that concept, physics is categorized in two category groups. The one is classical physics and another is modern physics. The physics in which motion is studied as the previous concept we call classical physics. But when in modern concept, when our idea change, this is studied in physics, modern physics. Now what classical physics says, one of it the postulate is a body is motion in motion absolutely. Means if I say a man is walking, so a man is in motion for me also, for earth also, for a bird also, for a train also, for a moving motorcycle also, for a moving car also. Means body in motion for every objects. This is absolute motion. If I am rest here, so I am rest with respect to my table, with respect to my mobile phones, with respect to marker, with respect to laptop, and with respect to you also, and the train, car. But in modern concept it is different. A modern concept that it depends on the body, it depends on the observer, it depends on the reference frame. So a man in motion may be at rest. A man who moves with 5 meters per second may be in motion with 2 meters per second for others, may be at rest for different objects. So we cannot say a body exactly is at motion or rest. We have to define a observer object with respect to we compare the motion of that object. Have you got that? We have a reference. We must have a reference by which we compare the motion of any object. So there is introduced a term absolute changes into relative. So actually relative motion is the concept we believe now, and relative rest. There is no absolute rest, there is no absolute motion. This is the right approach. Okay. So one cannot say a body is in motion or rest without having a reference object. If you say a man is walking with respect to ground or with respect to me, then it is difficult to say that a man is in motion if I am walking. So it depends on the observer or reference frame. So what is reference frame? Reference frame can be any object with which we compare the motion of other object. For example, A, B, C. B is traveling with 2 meters per second. A is traveling with 1 meter per second, and C is at rest with respect to ground. So for A, B is traveling with 1 meter per second. That is strange for all people. Yes or not? Why it is strange for people? Because a man walking with 2 meters per second, always walking with 2 meters per second. But actually, if you observe, if you ever sit in the train and see outside things, you will observe that a train is at rest at some point, and a train is go downward or go backward while your train is still at rest. So it is the true things. It is you observe in the real world. But it is so strange that all people never believe on that. That's why I said in science, believing is not the case. Or if you got the information from someone, it is not included in the science until it is verified by the experiments. Okay. Now you see the reference frame for B, because we want to study about the motion of B. So here we compare from A. So for B, A is the reference frame. So reference frame can be any object, a living object, because in motion or in physics, living object is also a physical body. That's why for any body can be treated as a reference frame. Or it also said in another verse, it is an observer. Observer does not mean that they have eyes, but in physics we say that observer for the reference frame. Have I got that point? Yes or not? Now my question is, what is motion? No, my question is, what is motion? So first of all, I define what is motion. Why we say something is motion or something is at rest. So in science, the correct or concrete definition is those which have some mathematical meaning that can be expressed in mathematics. If the definition is expressed in mathematics, that is concrete definition. Otherwise, it is a loose definition. So here I give you a concrete definition based on mathematics. When a body changes position with time, here I have a clock, and clock go forward, tick 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 tick, and I am go one step ahead, second step ahead, third step ahead, and changing my position. Then we can be said in motion or not. We can be said in motion, but if you observe the definition, a reference frame is also included in it. Already I have said absolute motion has no meaning. That is why relative to a process, from which object we see or we compare. Here I compare from the ground. That is my reference frame. So if a body changes its position with respect to time, but we have to assign a reference frame also. Maybe time passes and I also change its position with respect to ground. But for you, if you are walking also with respect to ground, and for you I change my position, but you see I am at rest. For example, a train moving with 5 meters per second with respect to ground, and in the second train in the parallel track also moves in the same direction with same velocity 5 meters per second. Then the traveler in the first train see another traveler is at rest, and the second train also see the same. So we have to assign a reference frame also. Here you can see the position of train it changes, but only the position of train it changes with time passes is not enough for the motion. We have to say also the relative to the reference frame. With respect to train it is at rest, but with respect to ground it is in motion. Both train are in motion. That's why the concept is introduced. And the same with respect to reference frame and what time passes, if the body changes its position, then it is called does not change its position, then it's called rest. That's why you know about it. You have answer why it is said relative rest, why it is said relative motion, why it is said relative motion, why it is said relative rest. Have you understood or not? If you have any problem, you can ask me by giving question on my YouTube channel, or you can ask me from my email jrajkumar44 and can comment on that on my channel. Okay. Now we have a topic. So we have understood that what is motion and what is rest. So the topic is the motion. So we define that thing. Motion means if a body changes its position with respect to time, with respect to an reference frame. So if I am in motion, let us say A is in motion. But for science or for physics, it is a bad idea. Or incorrect statement. Why? Because here we didn't assign the reference frame. If I have said A is motion with respect to ground, it is correct. A is at rest with respect to a car, it is correct. But here, if you say you are in motion, it is wrong. You are at rest, it is wrong in physics. Have you got my point? Okay. Now next term is types of motion. Now there are various types of motion. You can see here the random motion, Brownian motion, periodic motion, oscillatory motion, and rectilinear motion, and various kind of motion. So mainly there are 4 types of motion: random motion, and translational motion, rotational motion. Here rotational, where is rotational? Oh sorry, it is rotational motion. Translational motion, this is translational motion. Oh, we have not mentioned here translational motion. And another kind of another important is oscillatory and vibratory motion. And another very important motion is Brownian motion, periodic motion, rectilinear, curvilinear also. We will discuss in this topic, under this topic, this kind of motion, and we will know about the example of that motion. So what is random motion? I first write what is random motion. My dear student, it is so easy. Random means irregular, random means zigzag, random means no particular direction, random means something which changes direction every time. So when particles moves randomly, when particles moves in indefinite path, we cannot conclude, we cannot at certain say that the object is at place or not at particular time. This kind of motion is random motion. For example, the motion of bee, motion of dust particles in wind or air. Have you understood not? So the motion in which particles moves randomly or without any definite path, or the motion which cannot be predicted at a particular time of instant, is called random motion. The motion of bee in your room. You can observe bees after 2 seconds where bee would be. Okay. Now second is translational motion. Now my question is, what is translational motion? What is translational motion? Now in this type of motion, every particle of a body has same displacement. As we already say rigid body, definition of rigid body, every particle of the body has the same displacement. For example, if a ball moves like this, Here we discuss about three positions, A, B, C. And now here is the first particle I assign, here is the second particle I assign. So the same particle here is, because it is rigid body, so it does not change its place during its motion. So here is, so same particle 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and here also same particle 1 and 2. So if the displacement 2 to 2, 1 to 1, similarly 1 to 2 to 2, 1 to 1 at every place, or similarly this. If 1 to 1 straight path, distance 2 to 2 straight path difference, 3 to 3 straight path difference, same at every instant, say D1, D2 and D3, never changes. If it changes at here, if we say that from A to B it is 2 to 2 D2, but here B to C it becomes D3, D4 or 5 meter. Let's say A to B, the displacement between 2 and 2 is 1 meter. If B to C it becomes 1.5 meter, it is not translational motion. Have you understood or not? So if every particle's displacement at every place during motion is same on the body, is known as translational motion. Have you understood? That the motion in which every particle of the body has the same displacement during the motion, you can say, is known as translational motion. Now, translational motion are of two types. First, it is rectilinear motion, rectilinear. Or second, it is curvilinear. Have you seen, this is the curve path, but the displacement is same, so it is translational motion also. Somewhere we can say when it is go in a straight line path, also 1 1 or 1, displacement same. Same displacement means body at particular position, or a point at particular position on the body never changes. If it change, if it from this place if it compressed and go to this place, then it is not a translational motion. That's why it is not rectilinear motion. Rectilinear motion means motion along the straight path. So rectilinear motion means motion along the straight path. So we have example. Curvilinear motion means if a ball is hit by a batsman, then it covers a what? So curvilinear motion means curvilinear motion means a ball is hit by a batsman, it goes to like that, but displacement is same for every object, every point on that, D1, D2. Similarly, Rectilinear motion is the motion when something is traveled or motion along a straight line path, like a car on the road. So every particle on it have same displacement d1, 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 d2, d2. Have you understood or not? So we have discussed the translational motion. We have discussed the random motion. Now we want to discuss rotational motion. What is rotational motion? It is very simple. We saw something is rotated, we say it is in rotational motion, but a particular definition is needed in science. So we define it as if the particles of the body revolves around in a circle or circular path about the same axis. For example, I've taken a line or a rod. And if I fix it, this thread may be invisible also. Now the object here, I tied an object here, and then when jerk it, it revolves like this. Yes or not? Then this motion is called rotational motion. So for a rotational motion, a particular axis is needed, a fixed certain axis is needed about which something revolves, about which something go in motion in the circular track, circular path. So the motion, when the particles of the body revolved in a circular path about this same axis. This means if a particle here, see here a particle, here second particle, here third particle, all particle around in a circular track. Let us say this particle around in this path and this around this path. Okay, whole body around circulate or revolve in a circular path. So all the particles also circulate in a circular path or revolve in a circular path. So for rotational motion, every particle on that object, or you can say every point on that on the body, also revolve around a circular path, and the second condition is about the same axis, same line. So particle first is also revolve about the same rod, particle 2 is also revolve around the same line, particle 3 is also revolve, and the whole body is also revolve around the same line. That is known as rotation. Means if the particles of the body revolves in a circular path about the same axis, about the same line. What is the example of it? Rotation of Earth on its axis. Means if Earth revolves around the Sun, Sun acts as an axis. So we can see, so our year and the season is due to the rotational motion of Earth, due to the rotational motion of Earth. Now the next motion is oscillatory or vibratory. Vibration means what? Oscillation or vibration means to and fro motion. To and fro motion. What do you mean by to and fro motion? To fro means in Hindi idhar udhar, means like a swing. It comes here and goes there, comes here, goes there, comes here, goes there. To prim. So if a body go to and fro motion about a fixed point, here you can say a body goes here and then goes there, goes here, then goes here, goes here, goes there, means here there is a point about which it goes in motion. So when a body is in to and fro motion about a fixed point is known as vibratory motion. Have you understood? For example, string of guitar when is plucked, you have know that I play ek tara, and when I pluck my string, then the string vibrates about a single point. This like vibrate. Here you can see that my marker is vibrated about a single point. This is oscillatory motion. Likewise, a pendulum clock, and the motion of pendulum clock is also a oscillatory and vibrating motion. Now next our motion is what? Periodic motion. Periodic motion. Now the word suggests that something which is repeated. Yes or not? So if a motion is repeated after same interval of time, means if after 2 seconds it revolves again, after 2 seconds it comes at the same place again, after 2 seconds it comes to the same place, then it's called periodic motion. For example, Earth after 1 year, 365 days, or you can say 364 days, 23 hours, 58 minutes, 59 seconds. That is the periodic motion of the Earth. So you can say when a body is in motion and repeated its motion after a fixed interval of time, or you can say in other words, if the motion is repeated after a fixed interval of time, then the motion is called periodic motion. Or you can say during motion, when an object reached at the same place or same point after fixed interval of time repeatedly, then it is called periodic motion. Using clock, pendulum clock, so the example of periodic motion, or earth rotation is also the example of periodic motion. Now the next motion is Rectilinear motion is a special kind of motion. It is explained by Albert Einstein, but it is discovered by Robert Brown. Now if you take a ball and fill it from water, when we drop some pollen grains like this, after some point, some time, you can see this pollen goes a special kind of path like this. This kinds of straight line but zigzag path is known as Brownian motion. It is happened because of the pollen grains is small and the water particle is also the small, so they collide with each other, and after collision, if it goes there, here it collide, and then here collide. Because you know the space between two particles is also happens in occur in water, so here is much space, so the collision is relatively lower, but here is more collision, direct collision, so the pollen gas changes its path, and likewise. This is the explanation. So the motion of a particle, of a relatively smaller particle on a solution, when it goes in a zigzag manner but a particular pattern, in a particular pattern, this kind of motion is called Brownian motion. It is discovered by Robert Brown and explained by the Albert Einstein. Okay.